Let's take you to the table where Joshua Schmidt from Germany is going up against Federico Zoppini from Italy. Two friends and two of the best players in Europe right now. So both of these guys are playing Nekroz. It's the first time this weekend that we're going to see Nekroz versus Nekroz. And you told me there's a lot of strategy going on in these matches.
Yeah, so I played Nekroz this weekend, and there is a lot of strategy in this matchup. And immediately I've seen something that's really interesting to me. Federico Zoppini is playing Bullblader. Now, that's a card that comes from Battle Pack 2 that was, I think it was printed before that, but I remember it from Battle Pack 2, that is a great out of the Jinlock. If it hits something, then you can... after damage calculation, you can destroy the monster that it battled with, which is insane because it can stay on the field and do it multiple times, whereas things like DD Warrior Lady and Exiled Force are a one-time thing.
And that was also their reasoning. When I talked to them, they said, this is why we're playing it. We want to reuse it if possible.
Yeah.
Interesting choice, and I mean, he's in the top 16 again. On the one hand, no surprise, because Federico has been there a couple of times. He's got quite the streak, in fact.
Yeah.
And on the other hand...
So, yeah, here we see it straight away. Here's the Bullblader. And I can't believe he just drew that. And, well, oh, no, sorry, he searched off reinforcements to the army. But here we see, and I'm going to say that Joshua's going to have to read this card, see what it does.
And
but no, he uses the Valkyrus. So Valkyrus is one of the really powerful Nekroz monsters, which allows you to negate an attack by banishing a Nekroz card from your graveyard. So that stops Bullblader in its tracks right now.
But it's a pretty high cost, right? To give up a Valkyrus this early?
Yeah, especially, and having to banish one of those mirrors from your graveyard is very, very...
Not what you want to do.
Not what you want to do, yeah, really.
All right.
But
Federico's got some other cards in his hand with a Cyclic Clausulas Mirror, Preparation of Rites, very good card, and Solemn Scolding. He is playing Solemn Scolding. It's the first time we see that card this weekend, and you can tell us a little bit about that card.
Yeah, so it's a very, very interesting strategy. So the choice to play Solemn Scolding is, the idea behind it is that you Djinlock your opponent and then have something to protect that Djinlock, because it completely shuts down the opponent's Nekroz Ritual Summon plays. So Solemn Scolding can negate any spell, trap, or monster effect, or monster summon as well, at just the cost of 3,000 life points, which, if you manage to protect your Djinlocked monster, that's not a high cost to pay.
All right. So the first time we're going to see that this weekend. Quite different, these two decks, even though they're both playing Nekroz. Big, big difference. Joshua Schmidt not running any trap cards, whereas Federico is running 3 copies. He's maxing out on that Solemn Scolding. Yeah,
so Joshua Schmidt has gone with the Book of Eclipse as an out to the Jinlock, alongside the DD Warrior Lady, whereas Federico has gone with the likes of Bullblader and the Armageddonite build, where you can send Farfar to the graveyard. I don't know if he's playing Farfar, though. No, he's playing Shadow Dragon, which is another use of Armageddonite.
All right. So what do we have here? Even though Joshua Schmidt was able to protect his Clausulas the first time, the second time the Bullblader got rid of it.
Exactly. So that reuse of Bullblader is great. And
very different compared to a Warrior Lady.
Yeah, exactly. And here we see a very standard play of playing Kaleidoscope to send the Herald of the Acolyte from your extra deck to the graveyard to summon Nekroz of Unicorn. That allows you to, triggering its effect, which allows you to replace that card in your hand, which was the mirror, with the Herald of the Acolyte.
All right.
Which just keeps up the amount of card advantage that you have.
Yes, and it looks good for Federico Zoppini, or am I mistaken here?
No, it's looking pretty good for him right now. So there's a few basic rules that you have to follow in the Nekroz mirror match. One of those being trying to clear your board after you've made a play, because you don't want to have your opponent be able to play Trishula. But in this case here, we see Zoppini has a Solemn Scolding set, so there's no fear there. He can leave some monsters on the board, especially things like the Larval Chain, that allow you to put a Manju or a Senju on the top of your deck. Is very, very powerful if you manage to keep it on the field.
Is he setting up for the Jinlock here?
I think he is, but we just can't see it. But yeah, that must be it.
There's the Clausulas.
Yeah, he just played Nekroz Cycle, and yeah, so we can see it just on the right hand side.
All right,
there.
so the Jinlock has been applied.
Yeah.
Federico Zoppini, and he's got the Solemn Scolding in his back row.
Yeah.
And
so this is exactly what you want to be doing with this build of Nekroz.
Right.
He's got a very powerful card in the Larval Chain on the field, and the Jinlock, and something to protect it with.
Right.
And right now, in Joshua Schmidt's hands, we don't see any cards that are going to be getting him out of the Djinn lock anytime soon.
All right, so if somebody's not as familiar with the whole matchup, the Scalding has you said it's not a high cost to pay when you have the Chin Lock applied.
Yeah.
But you're playing 3 copies of it, and you only got 8,000 life points, so even in theory, you can never play all 3 copies of that card, and you don't mind that at all.
No, the reason behind that is because you'd expect to only ever need to be able to play 2, because by the time you've played 2, then, you know, the game should already be over, because you protected your Djinn lock for that long that you can just be gaining more and more advantage through your Manju and your Senju, and then putting really powerful ritual monsters on the field, like we see here, the Valkyrus is being put on the field.
Yeah.
So that's going to provide a lot of damage, and then be able to net even more card advantage and really shape that hand to be protecting his Djinn lock.
All right. So Joshua Schmidt, 4 cards in hand. I think he just drew into another card. And as you pointed out, none of these cards helping him right now.
No. There's nothing going on for him right now. So when you're in this situation, you've got a few choices. So you can take some damage, or you can use some of your own resources. So summon your Senjus and then go get a Valkyrus from your deck and protect yourself from the damage in that sense.
Mm-hmm.
Or you can just take the damage and hope that the cards that you have in your hand are going to be able to get you out of the lock when you draw maybe a reinforcement to the army to go and get your DD Warrior Lady.
And that is what he's going for here.
Something like that, yeah. So by the looks of it, he's taken quite a lot of damage here. So this isn't going to end the game here. So he's willing to take another turn to try and shape his hand into something that's going to be able to get him out of this lock.
Right. Okay. And you can tell Federico Zoppini's deck by now quite small. So much searching going on.
Yeah.
And now he's tributing his monsters away for Valkyrus to draw even more cards. And with just Clausulas on the field, that is still fair.
Yep. Because he's trying to just shape his hand in such a way where he can protect that Djinn lock while also being able to put pressure on his opponent. And the Lava Chain had already had its 2 uses of its effect. So that was it. And I think he actually put the Senju on top of his deck, or a Manju on top of his deck, so that when he tributed with Valkyrus, he could get that card straight away that he put on top of the deck with the Lava Chain.
All right. Good. So what is Joshua Schmidt hoping for here? Are there any cards that are going to get him out of this situation?
I think in this particular case, he's probably looking at something like Book of Eclipse,
Mm-hmm.
or a reinforcement to the army to get him to DD Warrior Lady. But again, Federico has Solemn Scalding set.
Yes.
So he's going to have to hope for a real miracle here. So he's going to need to get 2 outs to the Djinn lock.
And Federico Zoppini, of course, doesn't just flip the Solemn Scolding to tell his opponent, hey, this is over, because he doesn't want his opponent to know.
No,
that
he's just going to keep gaining more and more cards and try and defeat him without that, because that could be some other card. It could be Mind Crush. It could be Shared Ride. It could be any of these other cards. So it's a very interesting dynamic that he's going to try and beat his opponent in this first game without showing that Solemn Scalding tech.
All right. So Joshua did draw into the Warrior Lady, a very old card, still very good. And I guess we're going to see it being played, and then there's a chance for the Solemn Scalding to shine.
Yeah, so it's going to be, in fact, he's going to be forced here to use the
Oh no.
Warrior, or not. So I think here Joshua has he must have read the fact that that's Solemn Scalding, and he's going to wait for 2 outs.
Right. So he's trying to
smart move.
First bait the Solemn Scalding.
Yeah.
However, Federico has an Effect Veiler instead.
Yeah. So that's a great card to have against Manju, because so what you've probably had gone and done there, he'd have got Manju, and then its effect would have gone and got a Brian Act to search out Valkyrus, or just directly gone and got Valkyrus if he already had a Nekroz card to banish the Valkyrus's effect in the graveyard.
Basically, these subtle things. We've seen this before, especially when these 2 guys are playing against each other. These tiny differences, and nobody of them is making any mistakes.
No, this is perfect.
Like at the highest level.
Yeah,
right?
really is. So at the moment, so it's kind of
Federico finds the Trishula, an opening for that crucial play.
Yeah. So here what we're really looking for is if he hits that DD Warrior Lady in his hand.
All right, he goes for a 1, and that is
That's
A
Nekroz Kaleidoscope.
Kaleidoscope, yeah. So Joshua Schmidt is now left with a mirror, a cycle, and a warrior lady, and that is it.
Yeah, so he's going to leave it there.
Yeah, he's like, I've seen enough.
Yeah, yeah.
This was quite the beating, and Federico
Yeah.
Zoppini in very high spirits this time. Although
Yeah,
Joshua
he's
Schmidt,
looking quite pleased.
very known for his poker face.
Yeah.
And one of the questions that I got asked when I picked this match was like, are you sure about this? Because we still need this table for the following rounds. But today, Federico Zoppini's temper very smoothly so far. Not very relaxed, the guy.
Yeah. He seems, well, I think that initial play that he had with the Jin and Solemn Scalding really kind of brought his spirits up.
Yeah.
So, and something important to note is he didn't have to play Solemn Scalding in
So there's a chance Joshua Schmidt doesn't know.
Yeah.
But I think they either played against each other earlier in the tournament or they were sitting close to each other.
Yeah.
And half the time these guys also talk rather openly about their strategy, even though you might think, hey, these guys are rivals in a way. And they don't want to give anything away. But most of the time, even if Federico played one of the friends of Joshua, that can give away that information.
Yeah. So here we look at the side decks now.
Yes.
So some of the cards that they're going to be taking out and putting in and exchanging here. So one really big card in this matchup is Mind Crush. Both players are playing 3 copies of Mind Crush.
All right.
It can produce some very, very great advantage swings as far as the Nekroz mirror match is concerned. So if you play a ritual spell card and your opponent manages to guess what it is that you're going to take away, they're gonna be able to take that card away and then force you to ritual summon something else if you can. So that's the way that works as far as the ruling is concerned. So for example, if they play Kaleidoscope and you already have a Schmidt in hand and another monster, if they take away the Unicorn that you planned on summoning, he's going to have to play any of the other ritual monsters that he has in his hand, which is absolutely fantastic. That's a great advantage swing when you don't want to be playing that card.
All right.
So so now I think we're going to see them be quite careful in their plays, just because Mind Crush is going to be about, and they're both going to know that.
Who do you think is the favorite going into the second game?
Well, Joshua Schmidt's going to get to choose who goes first. So
that's a big advantage.
That's quite a big advantage. So
he wants to go first.
No, he's going to want to go second, I think.
Really?
Yeah.
Because I thought you want to go first. Okay, but don't you want to go first, apply the chinlock right away?
Not necessarily, because he's seen that Bullblader is in his deck, and he's playing 3 copies of Reinforcement State Army, so he has quite a big out to the chinlock in that aspect. And something with the chinlock is a lot of people can take it and just play it straight away, and that's kind of a real giveaway of your strategy that you don't have many other cards.
Right.
And in that aspect, if you manage to get rid of the chinlock, then that's it.
Okay.
That's over.
Well, this is definitely one way to look at it. I've heard from some of the better players that they say there are only so and so many outs for the chinlock.
Yeah.
So I'm risking it, and I'm just going for it turn one.
Yeah, it's a big risk.
And asking my opponent, hey, you got something? Otherwise, we're not going to play Yu-Gi-Oh!
Exactly. Exactly that.
All right.
If you can time it really well, then it's a complete game-winning play.
Okay, so Joshua Schmidt decided to have Federico go first.
Yeah.
He starts with Manchu, and I've heard this. I don't know if it's just a rumor, but some of the pro players told me if you start with Manchu, it means chinlock. I'm not 100% sure, but like there's a 50%. So far, it was 50% of the times it was true, and this looks very much like a chinlock to me so far.
It's possible. However, in his hand, he does have the Valkyrus combo, so he has enough cards to be able to ritual summon Valkyrus and also make a play to clear his board, which again is one of my star rules for the Nekroz mirror matches. If you always manage to apply as much pressure, gain as much advantage as you can, and then clear your board away so that you can't be Trishula'd, while also retaining Valkyries in hand. However, here we do see a Lalaval chain, so this could mean a chinlock.
Yeah. All right, so Federico Zoppini going first in the second game. He just won the first game in very convincing fashion, applying a chinlock with a Solemn Scolding in the back row. That was 100% safe, and it was smooth sailing from then on for him, and Joshua Schmidt found no way to get out of that situation.
And this is it. We can see the Jin right there is going to be applied in this first turn of Federico Zoppini's.
Right.
So this is something that's quite strategic here. So Federico is taking that chance because he already won game 1. he can take this chance because he's ahead
Mm-hmm.
in the match.
Yep.
He can just apply the decision lock and
See
hope.
where, yeah.
Really, that's it.
All right. So much for that. There's the cycle, and now the chin is being banished.
Yeah.
And there's the Klausulas.
Yeah.
All right. Let's take a look at Joshua Schmidt's hand. He's got the reinforcement of the army.
So that's going to be able to go get him the DD Warrior Lady to out that decision lock.
However, Federico Zoppini does have the Mind Crush.
Exactly.
This is going to prove crucial here.
It is. So
And if he Mind Crushes the Warrior Lady after Joshua Schmidt adds it to his hand, does that mean good game?
that could very much mean good game, and we'll have to see if Joshua Schmidt manages to get another out to the Jin lock here. So
All
let's really pay close attention to what he's got in his hand here.
So lock applied for Federico Zoppini, 1-0 in the lead. Joshua Schmidt had the chance to go first. He would have been able, theoretically speaking, to go for that particular play.
It would have actually been a game over as far as that was concerned, because he has double Mind Crush.
Yes.
That's so powerful in the mirror match.
All right, let's see what Joshua Schmidt is doing. Is he going to go for Manchu instead?
I think it's really difficult to tell. He's going to have to make a choice right now whether he wants to try and out this Jin lock and hope that none of those back row can really do anything. And he knows that his opponent is going to be siding Mind Crush.
Right.
So this is a really difficult decision.
It's a very
for him now.
tough decision. There he goes. This is his
Reinforcement of the
There's
army.
Reinforcement of the army.
So I think Federico is...
And I think Federico's
pleased
hand
about
is
this.
shaking right now. He
Yeah.
can't believe how, well, I want to say lucky he's got, but this is really, really good for him. And,
Yeah.
well, there's a saying that I quoted yesterday. Luck is when preparation meets opportunity.
He didn't even let him. He didn't even let him put the card down. So he must have
went for
sided in the exiled force. Yes.
Yeah,
so
he wants to have an additional out to the chin lock, apparently.
yeah. So that's a great idea. So that's only one out to the Jin lock out of Joshua Schmidt's deck.
Right. So exiled force gun sent immediately to the graveyard. Joshua Schmidt now left with those 2 Mind Crushes. He's still got his normal summon at least, and that is the Manchu of the 10,000 hands.
Yeah. So at this point, he's going to have to go into a bit of stall mode. He's going to have to look for an answer.
Yep.
But, however, he does have double Mind Crush. That means he's going to be able to stop his opponent really doing anything. And the thing with applying the Jin lock is that you don't necessarily have a lot of cards in your hand afterwards. So we can see here that Federico Zoppini only has 1 card in his hand.
It's only a Valkyrus.
Yeah.
And normally you want to hold on to that rather than summon it. Or
Yeah.
would you
Well,
play any differently now?
No. In this particular situation, we're going to want to play the Valkyrus, because he's going to want to try and cycle through these cards and really protect that Jin lock. Because otherwise, he's just going to lose, because he's not going to have anything to protect it.
He did draw into a reinforcement of the army.
Yeah, so that's a great draw. Reinforcement of the army is really anything you want it to be. It really is. You can get a Schmidt, which is going to allow you to make a really good
Nekroz combos.
Yeah, make a good Nekroz combo. It can be an out to the Jin lock, because it can go search things like Bullblader apparently, or Armageddon Knight.
Yeah.
Or it can go and get you a ritual spell card.
All right. So that Bullblader, is it better than DD Warrior Lady?
Yeah, well, I can actually see the people in chat really discussing this now. It's it's a strange decision, because you can affect Veiler, but you can also affect Veiler DD Warrior Lady. My logic behind I played DD Warrior Lady personally, and my logic behind DD Warrior Lady is that you can attack, and then hopefully you can get your Valkyries and protect DD Warrior Lady, and be able to attack again with that.
Yeah.
But it's I think they're kind of one and the same.
All right.
But I think one advantage with Bullblader is, I guess, you can't play Artifact Lancier against Bullblader, whereas you can play Artifact Lancier against DD Warrior Lady.
All right. So here, Federico adding something with reinforcement. What is he search for? Did we see that? I don't think so.
No, we haven't seen
don't
that.
have it on the app yet. And that would give Joshua Schmidt an opportunity to flip
He gets a Bullblader.
a Mind Crush. He does get for the Bullblader. There.
Yeah.
Let's bring this guy up again. And is Joshua Schmidt going to Mind Crush? No, he's not.
No, I don't think he is.
Okay. Why is he not Mind Crushing? Because he would then get to see the other card in his hand.
Yeah, I agree with that, actually. I think he probably could have Mind Crushed that and then been able to Mind Crush the Valkyrus, because then his other out to the Jin lock is the DD Warrior Lady, and then he definitely didn't have a Valkyrus. But he could be saving the Mind Crush for if he does have another Valkyrus later on. So I think he's gonna try and hold on to those, for when he does have DD Warrior Lady and then be able to attack freely with Mind Crush,
Right.
because he can Mind Crush the Valkyrus.
Okay, Lava Wall Chain's second effect is being activated that allows Federico to, well, stack his deck, so to speak.
Yeah.
Put something on top of his deck. I think that was a Manju.
Yeah, it'll have been a Manju or a Senju most likely.
Normally that's what you're going for.
Yeah.
And, right, so back to Joshua Schmidt, who just drew into an effect Veiler. He's got a Bryanek and a Max C.
Yeah.
And down goes the Bryanek to search something that helps him
Yeah, so it's
to get out
probably
of that sticky situation.
Yeah, something like a Valkyrus or potentially a Unicorn, because the Unicorn can just go and get the Valkyrus from the graveyard, which again provides the same thing, which is the stopping the attacks and protecting his life points.
But you're not really gaining any ground, you're just buying time.
You're not. That's exactly. You are just buying more and more time until you can find the out to the Dijin lock. That's the important
So
part
now
here.
we see the Mind Crush. After it would have been a Senju. Joshua Schmidt sees the other card, which is the Valkyrus. No reason for him to activate it just now, the Mind Crush, because it doesn't just special summon itself or something.
No, Valkyrus is very much staying in his hand right now.
Right, so Joshua Schmidt has perfect information, knows exactly what Federico is holding on to, except for that face-down card, the set Nekroz Kaleidoscope.
Yeah.
And Joshua Schmidt.
So let's see, what did he draw here?
Yeah, he really needs something. He...
Set monster. Yes, okay, so he drew a Maxi.
Okay, that's...
These hand trap cards are not very good when you're in this kind of situation.
Right. So...
So
Federico
Federico
simply finds a different Senju. This is how you do it. And this is very, very bad news for Joshua Schmidt.
Yeah, very bad news.
What is there remaining in his deck to get him out of that situation? He's not even playing a Raigeki in his main deck.
No.
He's not even playing a Raigeki in his side deck.
No, the only cards to get him out of this Dijin lock are the DD Warrior Lady and the Book of Eclipses. So Book of Eclipse, for people who don't know what this card does, it flips down all the monsters on the field, and when that monster is flipped down, it no longer remembers that it's been Dijin locked. So you can then freely special summon your monsters.
And try to gain the upper hand again.
Yeah.
And you want to get rid of those monsters, because if they are being flipped face up again during the end phase, the opponent's going to draw a card for each of those.
Yeah, that's the second effect of Book of Eclipse. You have to draw a card for each card that is flipped face up on your opponent's side of the field in the end phase.
Even a Book of Eclipse, not that much use for Joshua Schmidt here.
No, to be honest, it's looking really bad for him. He's going to need some miracles to start happening.
And Federico Zoppini with a Unicorn and a Valkyrus in hand. There is the Bull Blader that gets rid of anything standing in its way.
Yeah. So at this point, Federico knows his opponent's getting desperate. You never usually set a Maxi on the field.
That is true, yes.
It's not got much defense.
And he must be feeling exceptionally well after those past matches. I think he's either played once or twice in the top card. He definitely played once in the top card against Joshua Schmidt. I don't know if it was twice. And they always had some very exciting duels. So far, Joshua was a little bit luckier coming out on top. But this time, it is looking exceptionally great for Federico Zoppini.
Yeah. So here, I was just about to say, just before he summoned it, actually, I was going to say it would be the perfect opportunity to go for Emerald.
Yeah.
So the thing with Emerald is you can put back all of the cards and all the monsters in your graveyard. And so he didn't in this case, but usually you can put back Unicorn. Now, Unicorn's a very important Nekroz card because you can search back your ritual spell cards from your graveyard with it, which is really good.
Joshua Schmidt did draw into another Maxi, if the app is to be believed. And that would mean... Oh, he's still got a Valkyrus. Oh, no, he's drawing now.
Did you draw now?
I think it just drew.
Yeah.
And the Maxi might still be on the app as a Trishula.
But here we go. He's just drawn a Trishula, so...
And his face is not... This is not an amused look.
No, he's not happy at all.
Federico Zoppini is in play mode. So
yeah,
Joshua
absolutely.
Schmidt just passes play, and Federico Zoppini just adds insult to injury with that Manju of the 10,000 hands, as if his hand wasn't good enough already.
Yeah.
Valkyrus, Unicorn, Bryanek, okay.
So I think what he's looking at now is to be able to try and destroy his opponent's life points while banishing all of the cards from his graveyard that are Nekroz cards, because then you can't use Valkyrus.
Right.
So he can make number 80 Rhapsody in Berserk, which allows you to banish cards from your opponent's graveyard. So if he can somehow play that, so we can see him here about to flip over the Kaleidoscope. Here we go.
There we go, yeah.
and he's going to summon Unicorn most likely, and then try and make number 80 Rhapsody and Berserk and banish those Nekroz cards from his graveyard,
Right.
which will completely shut down Valkyries.
But that's not a extremely obvious play now, is it?
Not extremely obvious. You got to really look at. This is quite strange. He's trying to summon 2 monsters with that level 12, but you can't do that. He doesn't have enough space. Yeah, I thought he was gonna try and summon Valkyries, but he doesn't have enough space.
There's the Unicorn.
Yeah.
Joshua Schmidt with the Maxi draws into a Nekroz of Trishula, it seems.
No, he's got a Book of Eclipse there.
Okay, well.
Just a little too late.
Yeah, talk about too little, too late. And Federico checking the graveyard. And now you're saying the best play here would be overlaying the Unicorn together with the Manchu into the Rhapsody of Berserk?
Yeah. Number 80 Rhapsody and Berserk is probably the best choice here. And by the looks of it, what I just saw then, he only has 2 Nekroz cards in his graveyard. And if he manages to get rid of those, then there's no Valkyries play here for Joshua Schmidt.
Very interesting option. But can you blame Federico Zoppini if he doesn't go for it? Well, okay. All right, just forget what I said. He's just checking it again, the graveyard, and I think you telegraphed that move perfectly. There we go.
Yeah.
2 materials being...
Oh, he drew an Effect Veiler from the...
Wow, from that Maxi,
I think so.
Joshua Schmidt found an Effect
Oh,
Veiler.
wow.
But that means that Rhapsody should still have 1 material. Yes, it does.
Yeah, but he's got nothing to do there because Rhapsody is now useless.
All right. So, well, at least Joshua Schmidt gets to see another turn, but we got to give it up for Federico Zoppini, like identifying that play that you just mentioned.
Yeah, I think that was the most correct play to do, because now he's removed the Effect Veiler from Joshua Schmidt's hand, which completely frees up. So what he can do is use the other effect later. He's got another material on Rhapsody, so we'll have to see what happens here. So he's most likely going to use the Valkyries.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
So what a display of these 2 guys' abilities in both cases. Joshua Schmidt finding the 1 out to buy himself another turn, even though it's not looking great.
Yeah. But here we go. This is so exciting, because Joshua Schmidt actually has an out to the Djinlock now. He has the Book of Eclipse. Now, he's going to have to put 4 monsters face down on his opponent's side of the field. But looking at the rest of his hand, I don't think there's much he can do afterwards.
But you're saying it's not quite over yet.
It's not quite over yet, but I don't think he can do anything with his hand, to be honest.
All right, let's see what he's going to come up with.
Yeah.
We were prematurely saying this game is over, or at least I was thinking it was over, and Joshua Schmidt is telling us nope.
So here we go. Here we see it. I think actually does he have a mirror in the graveyard? If he has a mirror in the graveyard, then this could be it. He could be back in there.
Ah, okay, and there's the handshake. Wow, but still, you gotta give it up to both of these guys.
Yeah.
Joshua Schmidt finding a way to buy himself another turn.
Yeah,
when
it's terribly high level play here.
Yeah.
The Nekroz mirror match is really, really difficult.
And Federico Zoppini in a very, very cheerful mood. And I can't blame the guy. If you had any doubts as to his abilities as a player, he just erased every single one of them.
The perfect play was identified, executed in the correct manner, and it just happened to be that his opponent had effect there, but it made no difference. He drew the out to the Djinlock far too late.
Right. So you've seen 2 very different matches sitting in the commentator's booth this weekend. Which one did you prefer?
Well, I'm a big fan of Nekroz, so I have to say this one. I'm sorry.
That's all right. That's all right.
I have to go with that one.
And also, it is fun to look over the shoulders of some of the all-time greats.
Yeah, exactly.